Okay, so we'll move on, and this is motor yacht Royal Romance. She's popped up on AIS again after being silent for almost a year. Now, this is a 93 meter or 305 foot super yacht built by Fedship in 2015. She has been in Croatia since then, since last year, and she was in Rijeka in Croatia, in the north of Croatia, and she was sat there after the invasion of Ukraine. The vessel was sat there for quite some time, and she was later moved to Trogir, which is further south near Split, into a shipyard there after threats against the vessel. Why were the threats? Well, we'll get into that. The yacht was formerly owned by a Ukrainian, former leader of Ukrainian's opposition party, Russian-friendly Viktor Medvedchuk. He is a Ukrainian citizen, but he was friendly with Russia. How friendly? Russian President Vladimir Putin is the godfather to one of his children. He was also gifted these presidential chairs from Vladimir Putin to Viktor Medvedchuk, and he kept these in the master cabin on board his 92 meter super yacht, and you can clearly see on them the crest of the Kremlin. Now, he was last year accused of treason by the Ukrainian government and was actually being held under house arrest, awaiting trial. Now, after the invasion by Russia, he allegedly went on the run. He later denied this, but he left his house, and he said that he left because of the danger of the fighting. And he was later apprehended by the Ukrainian authorities, and he was held again awaiting trial. However, later in the year, the Ukrainians and Russians had a prisoner swap, and he was handed over to Russia as part of that prisoner swap. Now, bearing in mind, he's a Ukrainian citizen, he was born in Ukraine. That's, if you ever needed any more evidence that he was a friend of Russia, there you go. He was handed over to Russia as part of a prisoner swap. So the reason why the yacht has popped up on AIS, well, a couple of things. First of all, the AIS has been switched off since May last year when she arrived in Trogir. And like I said, the vessel was being threatened and the crew were being threatened by Ukrainians living in Croatia obviously because of the connection with Viktor Medvedchuk. Viktor Medvedchuk also, by the way, is married to a woman called Oksana Marchenko, who is a TV personality in Ukraine. In November 2022, a Croatian court granted a search of Royal Romance by the FBI in light of alleged money laundering allegations against Medvedchuk and his wife, Oksana Marchenko. And so a joint search with the Croatian police and the FBI took place on the yacht on the 19th of November. And the Croatian court ruled that the Royal Romance should be transferred to the Ukrainian Asset Recovery and Management Agency, or ARMA. And the court said that it was to preserve the economic value by selling it at auction. So they were handing it back to Ukraine. Ukraine said that they were going to sell the vessel and use the money to help rebuild Ukraine or fight in the war effort, or however they see fit to use that money. And the AIS has been switched off, and the vessel still appears to be in Trogir. But there is a more important reason why we've brought it up, and that is that the vessel has had a flag change. So the original flag was Cayman Islands, and it was deregistered by the Cayman Islands in June last year, and it has since had no flag state registered against that yacht. And like I said, it's been sat in a shipyard in Trogir, out of the reach of these people in Rijeka who were plotting to attack the vessel and set fire to it. They even had a Facebook page where they were putting instructions on how to make Molotov cocktails to use against the yacht, which is obviously a very dangerous situation for the crew, who were mostly Croatian crew on board at the time, most likely still are now. But the yacht was, like I said, was deregistered from the Cayman Islands and it's just had a flag change today, saying that it is now flagged to Malaysia. So that's interesting. We're following any developments there. On the IMO database, as you can see here, it still shows as unknown. And on the marine traffic information that we got through, it still shows as a Cayman Islands flag. It's that fresh because it takes some time for the changes to propagate into the system. And in the final straw for Mr. Medvedchuk, in terms of living in Ukraine at least, he was this year stripped of his citizenship by the government of Ukraine, so he is no longer a Ukrainian citizen. Anyway, we'll follow up with any developments on that story. Okay, so we'll move on, and this is about motor yacht Scheherazade. The 140-meter yacht was arrested last year in Italy. In the area where she was arrested, the locals refer to the vessel as Putin's yacht. The yacht was arrested in Marina de Carrara